Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Jamie Favreau, and I am the product philosopher. And today, I want to take you through the 4 things I wish I had in my mindset when I first started as a product manager. Now, a little bit of background about who I am. Like I said, my name is Jamie. Really happy you're here. Happy you're taking the time to watch this video. And my background is in mobile app development, very relevant topic for today. And specifically, this app was developing a platform, a social network for lovers of pop culture, also hyper relevant. And in my time that I spent with this organization named Gemmer, developing their mobile app, leading the product strategy, kicking off a data first mindset, I learned a lot of lessons, and I want to share those with you because if you're a young PM, you just got your feet in the ground, you're just getting started, and you want a little bit of leg up, a little bit of perspective on someone who's done it for a little bit, I want to offer this perspective to you. So, in brief, to give you a preview of what we're going to be talking about today, we have 4 aspects of being a product manager. Number 1, you can't make everyone happy. Number 2, anything is possible. Number 3, marketing is your voice. And number 4, take a step back. So, product management. It's a very interesting role and not one that I actually heard of before starting with Gemmer. Product managers have the unique job of being the translator or the glue between departments of an organization, specifically around software, but of any organization. The product manager can be a lot of different things, but primarily the product manager takes feedback, takes ideas, takes initiatives, whatever organizational structure, mindset that your company has. You take something from someone else, you take that vision, you take that idea, you take that requirement, and you translate it for the benefit of the user. But you also, in most cases, take an idea from a non-technical person, and you have to translate that idea into something tangible for the user and then translate it again into something that an engineer can code, that somebody in R&D can develop. And so that involves writing specifications. And so with this unique opportunity as a product manager, you have to be able to navigate lots and lots and lots of opinions and field ideas frequently. And you have to be objective, but also know subjectively when the right decision needs to be made. And this is a difficult task. I will not deny that, but it is one that you will need to master in order to do what's right by the user, to not compromise when you cannot compromise, but also to know when to put a high playing card, if you will, in your back pocket. And so that is going to segue me into my first point. You can't make everyone happy. In this show, you will see me drinking coffee. Right now, I'm drinking A&E coffee from Southern New Hampshire, their Brazil roast. It's a single origin from Brazil, super dark, really rich and chocolatey. It's amazing on a wintry day here in New England. So number 1, you can't make everyone happy. Now that's a very blanket statement. I won't deny that. And what do I mean by that? Well, as people, right, we have to interact with one another. And in order to achieve a goal, you must collaborate. Now that involves, as a product person, to collaborate with engineering, with marketing, with the executive team for clearance on an idea and potential budget updates. Sales, in order to convey to them new value props that you may have for them to talk about. And also, last, number 5, users. Who are you going to make happy out of these 5? And you can't make everyone happy because, I'll give you an example. Let's just say you have a mobile app that has a social feed and you've got a few ideas on what needs to be shown in that feed. What type of content needs to appear in that feed? Do you show user-produced content? Do you show in-house blog content? Do you show comments? Do you show potential connections with other people? Do you show things that might be for sale? And the answer might be yes to all of those things. But as a product person, you can't do everything all at once. You have to do it iteratively in an agile fashion, because if you try to do everything at once, you aren't going to release anything, which is going to make no one happy. So, who do you make happy? Who is number one? If you have to take those 5 groups, who is number one to make happy? Is it engineering, because that's the closest department that you work with? Do you make the engineering team happy by providing them with a feature that works well with their architecture, that navigates around potential tech debt or buggy areas of the code that you as the product owner knows, but you want to avoid that because it may take extra time? Do you make marketing happy because maybe it's a feature that they've been wanting, that they say that other people want in the space, or they do market analysis and say, hey, this might be a good feature because this person is doing it? Do you make your sales team or business development team happy because they're ultimately the ones bringing in those high ticket clients? And so do you release the feature that maybe their potential clients are asking for and will be more likely to sign up for your platform or service if you get that feature in? Do you make your executive team happy because, ultimately they're the ones that pay you, as a product manager? They might have ideas, and I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but executives love their own ideas. Whether or not they're good or bad ideas, that's irrelevant. But oftentimes executives bring a lot of charisma and a lot of passion to the project. That's why they're at that high level role. But maybe you don't necessarily agree with what their idea is, or the timing of their idea may not be fully there from your perspective. And then you got the user. And I'm just going to give you my cards right here, folks. The user, and I say this saved the best for last because the user is the most important to make happy, and I will tell you why after a sip of coffee. Hope you enjoyed a coffee with me today. If you guys are coffee drinkers, drop a comment down below. Let me know what roaster and what type of region you like your coffee from. I like to talk about that because I'm always looking for new types of coffee to drink. So, number 1, can't make everyone happy, but I'm going to propose that you make the user happy first. You always think about the user first, and here's why. A couple things. You make the user happy first because they are the end person consuming the feature or the bug fix or the tech debt, you name it, that you release to the product. Without users, you will have no potential clients. Without users, you would have no platform. And so, when you're faced as a product manager, you're faced with a whiteboard, very similar to that one, with 4 choices that you can make, that you can get behind. Ask yourself, as a young PM, which of these choices will most benefit the user? Which of these choices will provide the highest amount of value or solve the greatest problem? Because if you can make your users happy, they will be engaged, they will be retained, they will be giving you word of mouth referrals, they will be talking about you on social, they will be doing all of the things that you want them to do, which will ultimately achieve the rest of the goals that your internal company, your internal divisions, your teammates, your coworkers, the goal that you guys ultimately want to achieve will only be achieved if you make users happy. And so this podcast, this video, this channel is called the Product Philosophy Podcast because you have to get outside of this internalized, self-centered, self-absorbed mentality that you can often get caught up in as a young PM inside of an organization. You just started with this company. You want to make Jim, what's his face, your boss, happy because he hired you, and you want to get a good review. Or you want Susie over in marketing because you got a crush on her to like you because whatever, dude, you want to build relationships, you want to make connections, you want to move up that corporate ladder to the executives so you make the executives happy. Or maybe you want to get in sales because commission has a higher pay grade than a product manager. All of these internalized, self-absorbed, selfish perspectives are the reason why companies fail, are the reason why projects fail, are the reason why nobody wants to climb the corporate ladder anymore. Is because it's politics, it's ankle biting, it's prioritizing the internal aspects of the company and not thinking about the people that you're doing the product or service for. If you're thinking about anybody but your users, your consumers, your buyers, your members, your friends and family, if you're thinking about anyone else in your decision making, you're making the wrong decision. Because we're going to get philosophical here. If you get into developing a product or service, say a social networking app for people who love pop culture, and you start making decisions for reasons other than what will make them happy, you're doing the wrong thing because they're not going to respond. They're not going to respond. And you're not going to have users, and you're not going to have a business. Because you might be able to pull users in, but they're not going to stick around because you don't provide them with enough value. And you're making that person over there inside of your company happy because of a small, close to the trees type of thing, instead of coming together as a team, being confident in who you are, being confident in the team around you, and being unified around making those people happy and no one else. So that's number one. You can't make everyone happy, but you can make your customers happy. Also want to ask you guys, drop a comment, how do you guys make your coffee? I personally pour Chemex. That's just really what I prefer. I like it, and I'm just used to making it. Honestly, I have a French press. I have a bunch of other methods that I could use, but Chemex is great. I love the flavor. What do you guys use? Drop a comment. Okay, moving on. Number two. Anything is possible. Now, again, the blanket statement. And we all know that, that statement's true. You can do anything. You can go to the moon. You can go to Mars. Elon Musk. But I say this statement in the context of you as the young PM in relationship with engineering. Now, I love engineers. I love the way their mind works. I love how linear they are. And honestly, they are some of the hardest workers on the face of this planet. But, and this is a big but, they will try to tell you that something can't be done for a multitude of reasons. And a few that I've personally heard. And if you've heard of any others, let me know. Let's start a conversation on this. Let's try to navigate this together. This isn't just a monologue to me to you. Let's make this a conversation. I want to get to know you guys. A couple of things I've learned in working with engineering and why I stand behind that statement, anything is possible, is because they know the architecture of the product better than you do, and they know the potential limitations that you may run into. They know that, hey, this area of the code, that's where dragons are, and we don't want to touch that because it is going to be messy and it's going to be hard. Well, if you're part of a good team, doing the hard thing should be a natural mindset. You should naturally want to do the hard thing because that's what really matters. Easy things done in this world never leave a lasting impact. Doing hard things in this world does leave a lasting impact. Martin Luther King, the man got murdered for his passion and his convictions for the African American community to be freed from slavery in a lot of ways. But he was killed for it. Do you think that was an easy choice? I don't think so. So when you think about that in comparison to a hard problem to solve in a software design, architecture, mobile app, product, service, whatever, it's pretty small in comparison. Now, what you need to be aware of is the opportunity cost. And that is where the rubber meets the road. Because anything is possible, and you can push back on engineering and say, hey, we need to figure this out, and we're not going to get this thing shipped, and we're not going to move on to the next thing until we figure it out. But you also need to understand that if you take that approach, you might not ship product, which might affect number one, which is make your users happy. And so anything is possible, but not everything is valuable. And so something to be aware of as a young PM that I wish I was aware of was, before digging my heels in or digging them in for days and days and days and meetings and meetings and meetings, ask yourself the question, why are we making this choice? Is this choice going to produce enough value for our end user so that the sacrifice in engineering time will be worth it? The cost-benefit analysis will be worth it. That's the question you need to ask. And honestly, my advice there would be get your product team in a room and start talking. Start whiteboarding. But I'll talk more about that later. So that's number 2. Anything is possible, but not everything is useful. And honestly, I want to hit this home actually, because as a young PM, I remember that I was very keen on digging my heels in for, a little bit and then letting off and being like, okay, you know what? They know more than I do. Like, what do I know? I don't know too much about the product. Like, I think this is going to be really valuable for users, but like, let's do this other thing because it's going to get a release out. I want you to hear this. If you look at the data and you talk to users and you have a conviction that is grounded in data, and your engineering team says you can't do it or that it's going to be really hard, you say, okay, I hear you. I understand where you're coming from. Let's figure this out together because here are the 3 reasons why this is going to be super impactful for the user and why we think X is going to turn to Y and why that is going to be good for everyone involved. And so then you turn it from a competition to a collaboration. But stand by your ideas. But make sure they're also grounded in data. And I'm going to give you a 2.5. This one's for free. Make all of your decisions based off of data. And I'm not talking just event-based analytics. I'm talking about user interviews, surveys, meetings, comment threads on your platform if you have a social network, or user testing, or even just free form, hey mom, check this out, I want you to use our product type of thing. And she points out a glaring mistake or an opportunity for you to communicate this thing better, or talk to your friend who meets the demographic you're trying to release. You know what I mean? Never just say, oh, I think this is a good idea because I think it's a good idea. Always have objective facts to stand on. So that's number 2.5, data. Number 3, marketing is your voice. So, marketing is your voice. A lot of people, at least in my experience, look at marketing as a way to take an incomplete product or service and make it sound way better than it actually is, and use psychology and all those manipulation tactics to bring people into the platform. A lot of people think marketing is evil. A lot of people think advertising is a waste of time, or that it's easy. Well, I want to say to you, young PM, that marketing is your voice. Marketing is your cheerleader. If you have a product that does one thing decently well, then you sit in a room with marketing and you pitch them on why this feature, why this aspect, why this aspect of your product is valuable to them and to the person who they're trying to market to. And if you can sell them, they're going to put their magic to work and sell. You know, product and marketing are an amazing collaborative opportunity for you as a young PM, because if you can get marketing on your side and you can get marketing talking about the stuff that you're excited about, and that pulls in users, and those users are engaged and doing the things you want them to do, which gives you great feedback into this aspect of your platform, because it's real-time feedback on this thing you just released or this area of opportunity that you see. Come on, I don't know how much clearer I can be on this one. Find a friend in marketing who does social media advertising. Get a graphic designer, get your product page on your app figured out, or your web page, or talk to your marketing manager, see if you can put up a Facebook ad and put that to the test, because you as the PM, no one knows the product better than you do holistically. So if you can communicate the value of different aspects of your product to the marketing team, they'll be able to clearly communicate that value out to potential prospects. And that's the beauty of being a product manager, guys. You are the relay. You are the telephone between the product and the potential people. You're the one that can best communicate the value of stuff to people. You just may not have the marketing chops to do Facebook ads and all that, but you have the skill. There was one other thing I wanted to bring up with marketing being your voice. Yes. Okay. So this is a kind of a niche thing, and if you're in a bigger company, this may not apply to you, but if you're in a smaller company or a startup, I recommend giving this a try. If you have a marketing team who is willing to let you write copy, and if you can write copy, then do it. Because not only does it improve your copywriting abilities because you do it contextually to your platform, yada yada, but it also allows you to check yourself. To say, hey, I'm really excited about this thing right now. Can I talk about it, and does it make sense when I talk about it? Because you now have to take yourself out of your product mind and go into the marketing mind and say, hey, does this thing actually provide as much value as I think it does? To zoom that up even higher, the more you can talk about the product, the more you can converse about it with other people, and the more you can verbally express either through words or through writing or through PowerPoints or whatever, the more you can begin to talk about what you're doing and what you're working on, the more things will come into light, because you're going to get feedback, whether it's explicit or implicit, on ideas, features, releases, aspects of the product that you might think are important that someone else might not. And it gives you an opportunity to get a holistically well-rounded perspective on what you're doing. So that was number 3. Marketing is your voice. Marketing is arguably, I'm going to say, everything's important, but marketing is just like, it's the quickest feedback loop. That's exactly it. It's the quickest feedback loop on an idea, feature, bug fix, anything. If people respond to what you're talking about, then you're doing something right. All right. We're on the last one, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around. Stick with me for a couple more minutes because number 4 is the best one on the list, in my opinion. Hence, save the best for last, right? And it's not actually a technical skill of being a product manager, especially when you're new. And it may be the most challenging for when you're new. Take a sip of coffee. So number 4, take steps back. Now, I've kind of been building up to this main point. To summarize, you want to get a holistic perspective on your product, on your users, and be able to communicate that with marketing. You can do that through everything I've discussed so far. But everything I've discussed so far, especially when you're first getting started as a product manager, product owner, product person, all of the potential tools that you can add to your kit, all of the approaches that you can take, all of these ideas, they can feel really overwhelming, and you start putting in 12-hour days in the office, And then you start getting lost and things start getting hazy and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do. And then you're stuck. Once a week, this is mandatory, guys. You and your team, you need to get out of the office. You need to step back, step away, clear your minds, go to a coffee shop, go to somewhere where you can ideate. Hang out, talk, be people. Separate yourself from the trees and look at the forest and try to get as zoomed out as possible and say, okay, guys, like in the last X amount of time, what have we done? What are we planning on doing? And Y amount of time of future? And just do a checkup. Look at things. Get out of your analytics. Look at your platform. Get out of your conversations about the product. Get less excited about stuff. And just ask yourself, how are we doing? Overall, what's the user sentiment? Don't look at data. What are users talking about? What kind of feedback can you actually get? If you were to call up your best user on the platform, what would they say? Why is this important? Because product people are so interconnected with every aspect of an organization that we can often get lost in the noise. We can often get lost in the trees. I'm going to use this example over and over because it's so helpful. We can often get lost in the trees and lose sight of the forest. Because if you're traveling to a destination and you're in a forest and you know where you want to go and you have to use a compass to get there and there's checkpoints along the way, well, if you're always looking around, talking with your friends, doing this thing, playing with your whatever thing when you're hiking and traveling, you're looking at your radar and you've got this point of view and you're looking at your data and your calories burned and all that, you know what I mean? All this stuff. It's very easy to take a wrong turn, to be on one trail, to go on this other trail because, oh, the map says that it loops in over here and this trail over here is great. No. Take a moment. Take a seat. Make a fire. Get a pipe or something. I just throw an example of that. Throwing out images. That coffee, though. Yeah, take a step back with your team. I'm starting to ramble here. So the main point, take a step back with your team. Try to look at things as big picture as possible, especially when you're early on and you're just really excited, you're really in it. Don't get lost in the trees. Zoom out. Try to be as objective as possible. Recoup. Get a plan together. Maybe readjust things if you need to. Set up a conversation. Set up a product meeting. Set up a retrospective. Do whatever you need to do. And then get back to it. Taking steps back is huge. And doing it during the work week, while you may get some pushback on that, I believe I'm so strong on this one that if you're constantly busy, that you're not productive. But if you can step back and relax and just be a human, our minds tend to clear up. We tend to see things a bit bigger, and we're more relaxed, and we can make better decisions. So those are the four things, the four aspects of my mind now that I wish I had when I first started as a product manager. I hope they were super helpful for you. If you have any things that you've learned in the last couple of years or months or days even that you have learned as a PM, drop them in the comments below. Guys, I want to talk coffee. I want to talk product. I want to talk everything with you because I'm looking to start a network of product people who encourage and support and use our abilities and use our opportunity as product people to make the world a better place. So give the video a like, hit that subscribe button. You know this whole deal. Turn notifications on. You guys know, right? I appreciate you taking the time. If you stuck around for this whole thing, you're awesome. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Done.